Hello, honorable members of the clan. Welcome to my YouTube channel, guys. I am going through it. I'm going through it. I'm going through it. And of course, I'm going to be very inconsistent with uploads because of the situation that I find myself in. But yeah, it is life after all. We have to take it one day at a time and believe the higher above has your back at the end of all these challenges. But I'm not about that. I'm here to talk about you guys asking me my opinions about Gayton McKenzie. I understand why you are asking me this, because it's not so long ago, I think maybe 2 weeks ago, when Kenny Kunene resigned because he wanted to save the integrity and the respect and reputation of the office that he was holding in the city of Johannesburg as MMC for transport, as well as deputy president of PA. And now the president of PA, his skeletons came out of the closet because of a podcast said something. I can't remember what the podcast called. Chase, I think it's Chase podcast said something racial about colored people, and Gayton McKenzie, of course, took an offense to that, and I understand he's suing or he's getting them arrested or whatever the case might be. Then, of course, as you know, South Africans, and I'll still say this and I'll say it always, that the FBI headquarters are South Africans themselves, because South Africans will not say, wait a minute, okay, you got a point there, we should be uniting, no racial slurs and what have you, we should be kumbaya and moving forward and building our country. But somebody said, let's remind you about what you're about to do to these young people, taking them or dragging them to court, possibly even suing them for hundreds of thousands of rands that they don't have. What about this tweet? And the tweet has the K word in it, and it was in 2023. I saw that he tried to explain it, that it's an expression. Guys, no black South African since 1994 to date have ever come and agreed with the other South Africans that let's decolonize, let's take away the power of the K word by calling each other the K word. Just like how Black Americans have taken the N word and they use it as an expression to take away the negative history and the negative connotation about it. So much so that South Africans, instead of doing similar to what Black Americans have done, we appropriated the N-word in South Africa, which is completely wrong, because that's not your history. Our history, we were called the K-word. And if you want to take away its power and use it as an expression, then we need to agree that we are going to use it amongst each other, just like how Black Americans, they do use it amongst each other. Of course, the nuances are different about that on its own. There are Black Americans who don't want it to be used at all. Why use it? It's derogatory, it is hurtful, the history is not good. Versus us as well, where we have the K word, which is derogatory, it's hurtful, it gets us all angry. It's gotten some people even arrested and serving sentences in prison, and even fined over 260,000 rand, some of them. So why is it now okay when you want to justify and say, oh, it's an expression? Nobody agreed on that expression. Who said this is an expression we as Black people, we are going to use? And secondly, whether we agree or disagree on this, Black South Africans, they are known as Africans. You can go to the colored community, they call Black people Africans. You go to the white community, they call Black people Africans. You go to the Indian community, they call Black people Africans. It's just now, because of everything that is going on, suddenly everybody is African, and I don't have any issue with that at all. If you were born here and all of that, and I know this is a whole different debate, it's my opinion. Whether you respect it or not, that is on you. Everybody is African. As long as your umbilical cord is buried here, I'm good with that. But if we have to be extremely honest, the colored people don't see themselves as black people. There are those that do, and there are those that don't. Hence, we are having a tweet from Gayton McKenzie in 2013 using the Kword. I think he was quoting Mahatma Gandhi, whom himself I am learning a lot of things about him, and I'm starting to ask myself, why do we have Gandhi Square? Why do we? But that's a story for another day. So it's coming out, and of course South Africans are up in arms, and they're saying agahambe, meaning you need to leave the office of the Minister of Sports, because that is our office, our department. And we're not going to have somebody that sees black people in the same way that colonialists and apartheid apologists and practitioners have about black people. And I agree with that, because you need to protect the integrity of the office that you hold. There's no way, as a black South African and a human being for that matter, will have a minister of sport who sees me in that fashion. Whether this tweet was done years ago, you were young and stupid, as the excuse is always, no, you should have known better. You should know our history. You should know the word, what it carries, and what it could potentially do in an unfortunate event. And you used it. When you were quoting somebody else, if you were quoting somebody else, I would have excused it if you just used the K word. Just say K, not K word. Just the alphabet K, but also the implications and the allusions on that word, the letter itself, it will put you into trouble, and will still have people asking you to vacate the office of the Minister of Sports. And I think what Kenny Gunene did to protect the integrity of the MMC for transport in Johannesburg by resigning after he was seen at the TK Molefe house when Molefe was getting arrested, and with all that is surrounding him, I think you also need to do the honorable thing by stepping down as the Minister of Sports and do some reflections. Understand yourself as well. Where do you fall in the spectrum of people that are outside of a certain race, but closest probably to your own, black people for that matter? Do you identify as, or you don't identify as? And I think South Africans respect each other as per how we identify ourselves racially. That is why we don't see colored people, or colored people don't see themselves as black people, and black people are okay with that, right? And then no black person sees themselves any other race but being black in South Africa. White people see themselves as white and they identify as white. And then out of the white people, there are those that identify themselves as Afrikaners. Yes, they're white, but they'll say, no, we're Afrikaners. And there are also those that are white who identify themselves as English. They'll say, no, I'm English. Yeah, fine, I'm white, but I'm English. So we respect everybody as per their identification, like the racial identifications. That is why even on our application form for government papers, you will see where you need to tick your race. Do you identify as a colored person? Do you identify as a white person? Do you identify as a black, which says African? Or you identify as a Chinese, whatever the case might be. But there is no way at this point that you can excuse yourself and say, oh, that tweet was done out of. There is no excuse. This is inexcusable. This is definitely the end, I would say, for Gayton McKenzie in the political South African landscape, because how are you going to convince black people to vote PA? And I know there are going to be PA people who behave exactly like the other party. Yeah, because I've seen you all in my comment section coming for me because you completely misunderstood. Guys, listen with understanding. It's so important to listen with understanding. I'm not attacking Gayton McKenzie at all. All I am saying is the reputation and the dignity and the integrity of the office you hold, when you make a mistake, you need to protect it with everything you've got by stepping down. I'm not going to only call for Gayton McKenzie or Kenny Gunene. The Ramaphosa, he has compromised the office of the president over and over and over again. But in Africa, we have a culture of leaders that need to be dragged screaming and kicking out of offices when they could say, hey, I made a mistake, and because of this mistake, I want to protect the office of the president. I am stepping down. No, instead, they will hold on for dear life. Typical African leaders. So I know I blew into the air about this one, but I stand on what I'm saying about Gayton McKenzie. I am disappointed. I do not want to lie. I think between him and the podcasters that he had taken head on, there needs to be some kind of retribution, of course, because there is no way that we should tolerate racism in South Africa in any form coming from anybody. We should never. We should challenge it and come up with legal remedies, if there are legal remedies to be gotten, and set precedences as well so that other people do not do the same thing. And this also comes to the debate about the regulation of podcasts and YouTube and TikTok and all of that. I don't see it happening. I don't want to lie. I don't see it happening. The only solution, I think, it's where the aggrieved person takes the person that defamed them to court and utilize the courts. But regulating, I don't think that is something that is going to happen anytime soon, because I think and I believe that part of the negotiations for having platforms like YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and so on is the freedom of expression aspect. And of course, South Africa does have Section 16 of the Constitution, which also limits itself in subsection 2 of the same Section 16. And it does not mention anything like what is currently happening. But there is, of course, anti-racial laws in the country. You can utilize them and then hold the people that defamed you accountable or committed, I think, what is called crime in injuria, where a racial slur was used against you, because it is against the law. So it's important that we all understand that, and I support that aspect of Gayton McKenzie taking these individuals to court so that other podcasters count their words when they speak about somebody else's name, because all of us, we have our name, and it's our good name. And if our good name is going to be dragged in the mud, then we have to get some sort of legal remedy for that. So that is all that I want to say in the video. And thank you so much to those of you who understand what I'm going through and your support. I highly, highly appreciate it, and much blessings to you. And I will keep trying to come now and again to a post. And I think I do have some air to breathe for a couple of days. And we shall be seeing each other with more videos. Please don't leave this video without liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. And I'll see you next time in a new video. Goodbye.